Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with William Hill, Empire Fight Store. Delighted, I think, for the first time to be joined by Jake Dodd. Jake, I'm not bad, mate. I've covered nearly everyone in this gym. There's only a couple of you left, so I'll come today just to finish this gym like completely off. But let's talk about you.
Yeah.
You had a terrific performance 7-8 weeks ago, first professional fight. Not just a normal like run-of-the-mill stoppage, but a blistering knockout. You must be delighted to kick your career off with a bang like
that. Yeah, it's like it was unexpected, but yeah, it's done me some favours, to be fair. Like, it's boosted my social media up a little bit. Just ready for the next one now, really, because it happened too quick. It all went over too quick. So
I know everyone keeps saying you don't get paid for overtime, but I've seen how hard you boys work in the gym. I've had a small glimpse of it today, and I've been here other times. You know, when you do get that knockout, and it's like the initial feeling is, wow, brilliant, done, pack your bags, 1-0, one knockout, move on. You sort of feel like, wow, I've trained all that time for it. Do you need to, like, you know, have that of a release somewhere else, or how does that work in your mind?
Yeah, like I say, only 4 rounds. I was, like I say, in the amateurs, I was doing three rounds. So I needed the longer rounds, to be fair, and it ended up finishing in the 3rd anyway. So I'm just looking forward to like more of the 6 rounders and things like that, to be fair. But yeah, straight back in the gym on the Tuesday after the fight and just let some more steam off.
I spoke to Joe downstairs, and obviously everyone speaks, you know, very highly of you. You know, you can tell how hard you work. There's certain milestones in a fighter's career. You mentioned it downstairs. You've just been given this like canvas that I think that Karen Priest, her pictures they've put together for you, that sort of show your first win. How big a moment was that first win for you? You know, when you go home, you know, you've mentioned that you've got a young family, 2 lads. How big a moment was that for you? It must have felt special.
Yeah, it was very special. It was nice to go home. Obviously, my little boy didn't come because it was a late show. We had a big 55-seater coming home. So I jumped back on the bus with everybody. So yeah, when I come home, put it on YouTube, watched it with the kids, and they were just like, "Oh, Dad's knockout." So, and it just feels nice that I put all the work in, and then get results. You see, so and they see that as well. The kids enjoy it. They watch it and they enjoy it. Yeah.
Talk about Champs Camp. I know Joe's got this, you know, move to this gym. He's trying to sort of give it that bit of resurgence. You can tell of the coverage it's had the past, I would say, 3 months. People are talking about it a little bit more. What's it been like coming to this gym? It's a very sort of vintage, old school gym, I would call it. What's it been like working with Joe and obviously making that move to Moss Side?
Like I say, we were in Bolton, weren't we? But when I came with Joe, I think it was in April time. We wasn't there long. So then when we come back here, I was just like, yeah, this is sort of the vibe. It was, the music's blasting. It's very small, so, and it gets hot as well. So everyone's just, it's just down and dirty. It's proper like my sort of gym. Yeah, you just come here, graft, go home, and then, yeah, it's good. It's good.
What about the work you've been doing with Joe? How have you found that sort of connection? And you know, you've only had one pro fight. Does he give you any advice on it and sort of said, I mean, it's hard to really critique the knockout you had because it's like, it's picture perfect, but what sort of advice has he given you after that fight?
Like I say, there's still bits to learn. Maybe stop loading up too much, set up more shots. I'm trying to slow everything down from like the amateurs. But yeah, like I say, I felt like I performed well, but like I say, I was trying to load up a lot more. So try and ease off a little bit and set things up better.
You know, when you're sparring now, because it is a completely different game from the amateurs. Amateurs is more, you're rushing to sort of make sure you win that round and the rounds are shorter, whereas now you can sort of be a bit more methodical. Do you find that in your sparring you've managed to slow things down and adapt so that it's more of a thinking game?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Like before I went into the GBs, I was more of a professional fighter style anyway. And then when I went there just for experience and explore it and things like that, it was good. It was good. I learned a lot from it. Come back down now and I'm just settled here with Joe. Yeah.
What's next? Are you back out in the not too distant future? Are you in the same place? Let everyone know.
Yes, 14th of October in the Oldham Leisure Centre again, under Kevin Marie's show. Yeah, I think it's 5 weeks Saturday.
Yeah. So all raring to go for that. Just tell me a little bit about when you were coming up through the amateurs, and obviously you made that transition now to pro. What's the aim for you? I know everyone sort of says I want to be world champion, but do you want to go through the levels of, you know, your your titles before that? You know, do you want to hit these are the landmarks before you move on?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I need the experience and more rounds. I've got a good engine on me, so I think you'll see better performance later on in the rounds. And that's where everyone gets tired, and that's where you start seeing good fighting, isn't it, in the later rounds. But yeah, I would like the British title. Definitely would want the British title. That is the only belt I want at the moment. I'm not even looking to world. But yeah, I want that British, the Lansdale.
That seems to be such a big like carrot, especially obviously in this country where we've got, you know, when you just before you get into that world level and you're knocking on the door, that seems to always be a good gauge of where you're at.
Yeah.
How special would it be for you to, you know, fight for a title like that and obviously to win it?
Well, it's every man's dream, isn't it? You know, if I think personally, and even Joe says the same, if you turn professional, you've got to become a British champion. That is, anything after that is a bonus. So, like I say, I've done it in the amateurs, and I just want to pursue it in the professional ranks first before looking forward into the worlds then.
You've got 2 young kids, you mentioned there, 2 lads. In a few years' time, no matter how old they get or wherever they're at, if they want to box, what's your thoughts on it? Because I've some fighters who I ask this question to who say, absolutely not happening. Because they know the game, it's this, that and the other, and said, I'm doing it so they don't have to kind of thing. But then others will say, no, look, who am I to stop them, I'm doing it. What's your take on
it? I've already got Gino into boxing. He started at 4, and he's actually throwing like 6-punch combinations now, and he's 6 years old. He's very good, but I'd like him to do it because it's disciplined me as a young adult. I started at 20, so I started quite late. But yeah, if I ever make it successful in the boxing, I would like promote him and I'd do things that way. I'd look after him, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd like him to do it.
What would you have been doing if you weren't boxing? You mentioned you started late, you started at 20. Normally we hear stories of, yeah, I've been boxing since the age of 9, we move up. You started quite late. What would you have been doing if not?
I'd probably start my own business or something like that, with being a plumber. But yeah, something motivating. I'm always busy. I get home, I sit down, I want to get up and do something. So I don't know. I couldn't say.
But you're a proud Welshman. Where's your sort of dream venue to fight at? We'll ask a lot of the guys who are coming up who are either just turning pro, have only had a few fights, because aspirations to fight, you know, here, there, and everywhere. Any particular venue that you've got in mind?
Yeah, the Wrexham ground. I would definitely like to put a show on there, maybe defend the British title or something like that. That'd be really good.
Wrexham at the minute as well, we mentioned it off camera, it's absolutely buzzing at the minute with the sort of the hype surrounding the football club, with obviously the owners. That's a realistic possibility. You're thinking, you know, obviously quite a few fights down the line, once you've built up that experience, you'd want to bring an army of fans to that stadium.
Oh yeah, and like I say, Ryan Reynolds and Rob, they're doing that new stand, so we're going to get an extra, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 there. So you're probably looking 20,000 in there with the floor as well. So that'd be fireworks. It'd be unbelievable there in Wrexham ground.
Well, Jake, look, I think it's been good to have a bit of a catch up on camera this time. We'll be back down here. We'll review your next fight, and you know, touch wood, probably obviously you come through it. We'll have a bit of a catch up on that. You just give a shout out to your social medias, your Instagram. I know you're on Instagram, where people can follow you on this journey, because it's going to be an exciting one if that first performance is out to go by.
Yeah, follow me on Jake Dodd Boxing. I've got a Facebook account as well. That's Jake Dodd Boxing, so that's another follow page. And yeah, I just want to thank all my sponsors: Lee Wright, Plumbing and Heating, Meg Thompson, Male Image, Hot Pod Yoga, and I Haywood Ltd as well.
Yeah, good man, because without sponsors, it's impossible to do what you guys do. It gives you the freedom to do what you need to do. Look, Jake, appreciate your time. Thanks for talking at Boxing Social. We'll catch up very soon.
Thank you.